My name is Evelyn, and I'm 76 years old. For most of my life, I've lived in the heart of Chicago, a city that never sleeps, a city that hums with life even when the stars are out. I used to be a numbers woman, a retired accountant who could balance books faster than you could blink. Back in the day, I thrived on the chaos of tax season, the clatter of calculators, and the buzz of Michigan Avenue just outside my office window. But these days, I'm fighting a different kind of chaos, one that creeps in when the lights go out and the city's noise fades into a distant hum. It's the chaos of my own sleep, or rather, the lack of it. And it's starting to scare me to death, literally. It hit me a few months ago, right around my 76th birthday. I woke up at 3 a.m., my heart pounding like a drum in my chest, my mouth dry as if I'd swallowed a handful of sand. The room was dark, but the faint glow of streetlights slipped through my blinds, painting stripes across my bedroom floor. I could hear the rumble of a late-night bus rolling down the street, the occasional honk of a taxi cutting through the silence. And there I was, wide awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep had abandoned me again. This wasn't new. I'd been waking up in the middle of the night for weeks, maybe months. But that night felt different. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Really wrong. I rolled over, glancing at the clock on my nightstand. The red numbers glared back at me. 3:07 a.m. I'd gone to bed at 11, which meant I'd barely scraped together 4 hours of sleep. 4 measly hours. My body ached, my head felt foggy, and there was this gnawing pit in my stomach that wouldn't go away. I tried to close my eyes, to will myself back to dreamland, but my mind wouldn't shut off. It was like a radio stuck between stations, static, noise, worry. I started counting the minutes the way I used to count dollars and cents for my clients. But instead of finding comfort in the numbers, I found panic. Is this it? I whispered to myself. Is this how it ends? The next morning, I dragged myself out of bed, my legs heavy as if I'd run a marathon in my sleep or lack thereof. I shuffled to the kitchen, the sound of my slippers scraping against the hardwood floor echoing in my quiet apartment. I made coffee black, strong, the way I've always liked it, and sat by the window watching the city wake up. People hurried along the sidewalks, briefcases in hand, steam rising from their to-go cups. I used to be one of them. Now I was just a tired old woman, staring out at a world that seemed to move on without me. And that's when I saw it, a magazine I'd picked up at the grocery store a few days earlier, lying on the counter. The headline screamed in bold letters, 9 surprising ways your sleep patterns forecast your lifespan after 75 doctors reveal all. I grabbed it, my hands trembling a little, not from age, but from dread. I flipped to the article and started reading. The words hit me like a freight train. Sleep isn't just rest, it said. It's a crystal ball into your future health. After 75, how you sleep could determine how long you live. My eyes darted across the page, soaking in the science. The first thing that jumped out? Waking up in the middle of the night like I'd been doing wasn't just annoying. It was a red flag. A big, waving, you're in trouble kind of flag. The article cited studies from places like Harvard saying that broken sleep messes with your heart, your brain, your everything. Then came the second punch. Sleeping less than 7 hours a night, like my pitiful 4-hour stints, could shave years off your life. Years. I dropped the magazine, my coffee suddenly tasting bitter in my mouth. I sat there stunned as the city buzzed outside. Was this really happening? Were my sleepless nights counting down the days I had left? I thought about my life, my kids, my grandkids, the trips I still wanted to take. I'd always pictured myself hitting 90, maybe even 100, sitting on a porch somewhere with a cup of tea and a good book. But now I wasn't so sure. I mean, I'd heard the honks and sirens of Chicago my whole life, but that morning they sounded different, like a clock ticking, each noise a reminder that time was slipping away. I tried to laugh it off the way I used to when a client's books were a mess. Come on, Evelyn, I muttered. You've survived tax audits. You can survive a few bad nights. But deep down, I wasn't so sure. I mean, I'd always been good at numbers, adding up profits, subtracting losses. So I did the math in my head. If I was waking up every night, losing sleep, and the studies were right, how much time was I losing? A month? A year? More? The thought made my chest tighten, and I pressed a hand to my heart, feeling it thud against my ribs. You know what's crazy? I used to think sleep was just something you did or didn't do without much consequence. I'd pull all-nighters in my 30s, fueled by coffee and ambition, and bounce back like it was nothing. But at 76, my body wasn't forgiving me anymore. That magazine article kept echoing in my head. Only 1 hour of lost sleep each night could shorten your lifespan. 1 hour. I was losing 3 or 4 most nights. Was that why I felt so drained all the time? Was that why my hand shook when I poured my coffee? Or why I couldn't remember where I parked my car last week? I stood up, pacing my small apartment, the city skyline looming through the window like a silent judge. I caught my reflection in the glass gray hair pulled back, lines etched deep around my eyes. I didn't look 76, at least not to myself. I still felt like the woman who could juggle spreadsheets and dinner plans without breaking a sweat. But my sleep, or whatever was left of it, was telling a different story. And that's when the question hit me hard and fast. What if these restless nights are a warning? What if my body's trying to tell me something I've been too stubborn to hear? I sank back into my chair, the magazine still open on the table. 2 signs were already screaming at me. Waking up in the middle of the night and barely scraping by with less than 7 hours. If the doctors were right, those were just the beginning. There were 9 ways my sleep could be forecasting my future, 9 little clues that could mean the difference between seeing my grandkids graduate or not. I didn't want to think about the not, but I couldn't stop. The honking outside grew louder, the buses rumbled on, and I sat there wondering, how many nights do I have left to fix this? So here's my question to you, because I know I'm not the only one who's ever felt this way. Have you ever woken up in the dead of night, heart racing, wondering why sleep won't come? Have you ever counted the hours and realized you're running on fumes? If you have, stick with me. Because what I found out next, what those doctors revealed about the other 7 signs, changed everything. And it might just change your life too. I couldn't shake that magazine article from my mind. Those 2 signs, waking up in the middle of the night and barely scraping by with less than 7 hours of sleep, were like ghosts haunting me every time I closed my eyes. I'm Evelyn, 76 years old, a retired accountant from Chicago, and I was starting to feel like my own body was keeping secrets from me. So I did what any stubborn, numbers-obsessed woman would do. I booked an appointment with my doctor. If my sleep was trying to tell me something about my lifespan, I needed answers fast. The waiting room smelled like antiseptic and stale coffee, the kind of place that makes you feel sicker just by sitting there. I fidgeted with my purse, listening to the hum of the L train rattling past outside. When they finally called my name, I shuffled into Dr. Patel's office, my heart thudding louder than the traffic on Lakeshore Drive. He's a kind man, mid-50s, with a voice that's calm but firm, like he's seen it all. I sat down, took a deep breath, and spilled everything. Doc, I'm waking up every night. I'm lucky if I get 4 hours. I read this thing about sleep and lifespan after 75, and I'm terrified. Am I dying? He didn't laugh or brush me off. Instead, he leaned forward, his glasses catching the light, and said, Evelyn, you're not dying. Not yet. But you're right to be concerned. Sleep isn't just rest, it's a lifeline. Let's figure this out. He pulled up some research on his computer, stuff from Harvard and the American Geriatric Society, and started breaking it down. That's when I learned about the next 4 signs, 4 more ways my sleep was waving red flags about my future. First up, sleeping too long. Wait, what? I said, almost laughing. I thought I wasn't sleeping enough. Dr. Patel nodded. Most people think that, but sleeping over 10 hours can be just as bad. It's linked to dementia and heart issues. I froze. A few weeks ago, I'd crashed for 11 hours straight after a sleepless streak, thinking I was catching up. Turns out I might have been digging myself a deeper hole. Then came sign number 4. Sleep apnea. You ever wake up gasping, Evelyn? Or snore loud enough to rattle the windows? He asked. I blushed. Well, I live alone, but yeah, I've woken myself up snorting like a freight train. He didn't smile. That's a big one. It cuts off oxygen to your brain. Increases stroke risk by 30% at your age. My stomach dropped. I could still feel those moments waking up with my throat dry as a desert, my chest tight, like I'd been holding my breath for hours. Then he hit me with number 5. Lack of REM sleep. Do you dream much anymore? He asked. I thought about it. Not really. Just black. Like someone turned off the movie. He frowned. REM's when your brain repairs itself. Without it, your memory, your mood, they start to crumble. I swallowed hard. I'd noticed I'd been forgetting little things like where I'd left my keys or what day the trash went out. Was that why? And then the 6th sign, irregular sleep schedules. What time do you go to bed, Evelyn? He asked. I shrugged. Sometimes 10, sometimes midnight. Depends on if I'm watching reruns of The Golden Girls. He shook his head. Your body's like a clock. Mess up the rhythm and everything falls apart: blood pressure, metabolism, even your immune system. I pictured my nights flipping between late dinners and late night TV and felt a pang of guilt. For more signs piling on top of the first 2. I wasn't just losing sleep, I was losing time. Dr. Patel gave me a list of things to try, simple fixes to start with. Go to bed at 10 every night. No coffee after noon. Maybe a sleep mask. I nodded, scribbling notes like I was back in accounting school. That night, I decided to take charge. I set an alarm for 10 p.m., brewed decaf instead of my usual black gold, and dug out an old sleep mask from a drawer. It was purple, with faded sequins, a relic from a Vegas trip decades ago. I felt ridiculous sliding it on like some kind of sleep-deprived diva, but I was desperate. Did it work? Not even close. I climbed into bed at 10 sharp, the city humming outside my window, and stared into the darkness behind that mask. My skin itched where the elastic dug in, and my mind raced faster than a cab on the Kennedy Expressway. I kept thinking about Dr. Patel's words: stroke risk, dementia, crumbling memory. By 11:30, I ripped the mask off, sweat beading on my forehead. I tried cutting coffee too, but by 3 p.m. the next day I was so sluggish I nearly cried into my herbal tea. I missed the jolt, the buzz, the life it gave me. And the irregular schedule? I tried sticking to 10, but the next night, I got caught up scrolling my phone, pictures of my grandkids, news about the Cubs, and didn't hit the pillow until 12:45. The sleep apnea thing haunted me most. I woke up that night gasping, my heart hammering like it was trying to break free. I stumbled to the bathroom, splashing water on my face, and stared at myself in the mirror. My eyes were bloodshot, my skin sagging like a deflated balloon. You're a mess, Evelyn, I muttered. I thought about that freight train snore Dr. Patel mentioned, and for a split second I swore I heard it echoing off my apartment walls. Was I really choking myself awake every night? Was my brain starving while Chicago buzzed on without me? Here's the kicker. The science wasn't lying. Dr. Patel had shown me the numbers: people who sleep less than 6 hours a night are 12% more likely to die early. 12%. I used to calculate risk for a living, and let me tell you, that's not a number you ignore. But the fixes? They weren't clicking yet. I felt like a kid trying to solve a puzzle with half the pieces missing. The mask made me claustrophobic, the decaf made me miserable, and my willpower? Well, it was about as strong as a wet paper towel. So, I've got a question for you, because I know I'm not alone in this mess. Have you ever tried fixing your sleep and felt like you were failing before you even started? Do you snore, toss, turn, or just lie there wondering why your body won't cooperate? If you're watching this right now, drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're with me so far. And tell me, how's your sleep been lately? What keeps you up at night? Share it below. I'm dying to hear your stories, because mine's only getting wilder from here. I left Dr. Patel's office with hope, but it was slipping fast. I was up to 6 signs now: waking up, short sleep, oversleeping, apnea, no dreams, irregular hours, and I could feel them stacking against me like a bad ledger. The city outside my window kept moving, horns blaring, lights flashing, but inside I was stuck, trapped in a body that wouldn't rest. And what I found out next, those last 3 signs pushed me right to the edge. 6 signs were already clawing at me: waking up in the middle of the night, scraping by with less than 7 hours, oversleeping when I crashed, choking on my own snores, missing dreams, and a sleep schedule messier than a spilled ledger. I thought I'd seen the worst after Dr. Patel's warnings and my fumbling attempts to fix things. But I was wrong. So wrong. The next chapter, the last 3 signs, dragged me into a hole so deep, I wasn't sure I'd claw my way out. If you've ever felt like your own body's turned traitor, stick with me. This is where it gets raw. It started with a night that still haunts me. I'd been half-heartedly trying Dr. Patel's tricks, 10 p.m. bedtime, ditching coffee, that itchy sleep mask, but they were slipping through my fingers like sand. That night, I climbed into bed early, swearing I'd make it work. The city buzzed outside, sirens howling, headlights slicing through my blinds, but I was determined. I shut my eyes, counting breaths like some desperate meditation guru. 1, 2, 3, and then nothing. Hours later, I jolted awake, my chest heaving, my heart slamming against my ribs like it wanted out. The clock glowed 2:47 a.m. I hadn't slept not a single second. I swung my legs over the edge, my feet smacking the cold hardwood, and just sat there trembling. My apartment was quiet, save for the distant rumble of traffic, but my head was a hurricane. My pulse wouldn't settle, my hands shook like leaves in a storm, and this heavy dread settled over me like my body was giving up. I stumbled to the living room, collapsing into my armchair, and the tears came fast. Hot, ugly sobs I hadn't let out in years, not since my husband's funeral. What's happening to me? I choked out, my voice bouncing off the walls. The TV flickered in the corner, I dozed off to it again, and the blue light pulsed like a taunt. The next morning I called Dr. Patel, my throat still raw. I didn't sleep at all, I rasped. I'm falling apart. He told me to come in right away, and soon I was back in his office, gripping a paper cup of water like it could hold me together. He didn't mince words. We need to dig deeper, Evelyn. There's more to this. He brought in Dr. Ruiz, a geriatric sleep specialist with sharp eyes and zero patience for nonsense. Let's talk about the last 3 signs, she said, cutting straight to it. You're ticking every box. Sign 7, blue light exposure. That TV you're leaving on? She said, jabbing a pen at me like I'd broken a law. It's drowning your brain in light that kills melatonin, the stuff that gets you to sleep. At your age, it's a disaster. I flinched. I'd been curling up with late-night shows for years, their glow a flickering friend in my empty apartment. I thought it was harmless. Wrong. She showed me the research. Blue light slashes sleep quality by half and hikes heart disease risk. Half. I saw all those nights bathed in that cold shine and my stomach twisted. Then sign 8, pre-sleep stress. What's running through your head before bed? She asked. I hesitated. Everything, I admitted. My grandkids growing up too fast. Bills piling up. Did I lock the door? She didn't blink. That's a killer. Stress pumps cortisol into you. Keeps your brain buzzing when it should be shutting down. I thought of my nightly worry parade, every fear, every what-if marching loud and clear. Dr. Ruiz pressed on. After 75, that's not just sleeplessness, it's grinding down your heart, your blood vessels. Silent but deadly. And the final punch, sign 9, bad sleep posture. How do you lie down? She asked. I shrugged. Face down, always have. She shook her head hard. That's crushing your spine, pinching your airways. No wonder you're gasping awake. She flashed a chart. People over 75 sleeping prone face more back pain, breathing trouble, even sudden death. Sudden death. The word slammed into me like a train. I'd spent decades belly flopped on my pillow, cozy as could be. Now it felt like a death sentence. I walked out with my head reeling and a new list of orders. Dr. Ruiz didn't mess around. Kill the TV an hour before bed. Deep breathing for the stress. Sleep on your side with a pillow between your knees. I promised I'd try, but inside I was shattering. 9 signs, all screaming my lifespan was slipping away. Waking up, short sleep, oversleeping, apnea, no REM, irregular hours, blue light, stress, bad posture. It was a full-scale war, and I was losing every battle. That night I gave it a go. I switched off the TV at 9 p.m. The silence hit like a brick wall. Chicago's hum suddenly too loud. I sat in the dark, breathing deep in and out, counting to 4 like she'd said. But my mind wouldn't quit. I saw my grandkids, Heard my daughter's voice nagging about that birthday check. My breaths turned shallow, my chest knotted up. I rolled onto my side, wedging a pillow between my knees, but it felt like sleeping on a construction site. By midnight, I was back on my stomach, the TV glowing again, my heart thumping with failure. I crashed hard that week. One night, I woke up choking, my snores so loud they could have woken the whole building. I staggered to the bathroom, splashed water on my face, and stared into the mirror. My eyes were hollow, my skin ashen like I was already fading. "You're killing yourself," I whispered, the words clouding the glass. The science didn't lie, Dr. Ruiz had the stats. Sleep apnea alone spikes stroke risk by 30% after 75. Toss in the stress, the light, the posture. I was a ticking bomb, fuse burning fast. Here's the gut punch. Have you ever felt your own habits choking the life out of you? Ever lain there, mind racing, TV blaring, body aching? I was there, terrified, out of my skin. 9 signs, all shouting one thing. My sleep wasn't just broken, it was breaking me. But what came next, what I did to fight back, flipped the script. Because even at the bottom, there's a way out. Hang on, because I'm not done yet. I was drowning. 9 signs had turned my sleep into a battlefield, waking up at night, barely hitting 7 hours, oversleeping, choking on snores, missing dreams, erratic schedules, blue light poisoning, pre-bed stress, and a posture that crushed my spine. I'd hit rock bottom, staring at my gray reflection in the mirror, wondering if I'd even make it to 77. But something inside me, a stubborn spark from my days crunching numbers, refused to give up. If sleep was forecasting my lifespan, I was damn well going to rewrite the ending. And what happened next? It didn't just save my nights, it gave me my life back. After that awful week, I marched back to Dr. Ruiz's office, tears still stinging my eyes. "I can't keep failing like this," I told her, my voice shaking. "I want to live, not just survive." She looked at me, her gaze steady, and said, "Then let's get serious, Evelyn. We're fixing all 9 step by step." She handed me a plan, not suggestions this time, but a battle strategy. I grabbed it like it was a lifeline, determined to fight for every year I had left. Chicago's noise roared outside, but in that moment I swore I'd outlast it. First, the wake-ups and short sleep. Dr. Ruiz said you need 7 to 9 hours, no excuses. Bed at 10 p.m. Up at 7 a.m. every day. I nodded, picturing my old accounting deadlines. Consistency was my game. That night I set my alarm, locked my bedroom door, and climbed in. No TV, no phone, just me and the dark. It wasn't easy, my mind buzzed like a beehive, but I stayed put, counting breaths until I drifted off. I woke at 3 a.m., heart pounding, but instead of pacing, I slipped on a sleep mask Dr. Patel had suggested, soft, black, no sequins this time. It blocked the city lights creeping through my blinds, and somehow I slipped back under. By 7 a.m., I'd clocked 8 hours. 8. I hadn't felt that alive in months. Next, the oversleeping. No more 10-hour marathons, Dr. Ruiz warned. Set a wake-up alarm and stick to it. I'd been crashing too long to compensate, but now I had a rhythm. I bought a cheap clock radio, nothing fancy, just a buzzer, and set it across the room so I'd have to get up. The first morning it blared. I cursed it like a tax auditor, but I dragged myself out of bed. No more 11-hour traps. My body started to learn. 7 to 9 was the sweet spot, and anything more was a thief in disguise. Then, the sleep apnea, the scariest one. Dr. Ruiz sent me to a sleep clinic, where they strapped me into a machine that looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. They confirmed it. I was stopping breathing 20 times an hour. 20. They gave me a CPAP machine, a little mask hooked to a hose that pumps air while you sleep. I felt ridiculous the first night, like a scuba diver lost in Chicago, but when I woke up without gasping, my throat calm, my head clear, I nearly cried. "This is living," I whispered, the hum of the machine blending with the city's pulse outside. Sign 5. The missing REM sleep. "You need dreams, Evelyn," Dr. Ruiz said. "They're your brain's reset button." She told me to try meditation 10 minutes before bed, focusing on my breath. I sat cross-legged on my couch, feeling silly, but I pictured my grandkids' faces, their laughter, and let the worries fade. That night, I dreamed a blurry mess of colors and voices, but a dream nonetheless. My brain was waking up piece by piece and I could feel the fog lifting. The irregular hours? Done. I stuck to 10 p.m. like it was law. No more late-night Golden Girls or scrolling Instagram. I turned my bedroom into a fortress, dark curtains. A strict clock and the city's chaos stayed outside. Sign 7, the blue light got the axe too. I swapped my TV for a red bulb lamp, soft, warm like a sunset. Dr. Ruiz said it mimics nature, tricks your brain into winding down. The first night I flicked it on, my apartment felt strange, quiet, but my eyes didn't fight it. I slept deeper than I had in years. Stress was tougher. Sign 8 had me in a chokehold, those pre-bed worries about bills, kids, life. Dr. Ruiz said, write them down. Get them out of your head. I grabbed a notebook, scribbled every nagging thought. Did I pay the electric? Is Sophie's college fund okay? And shut it before bed. Then I breathed deep, for in, for out, like she taught me. The first night my chest still tightened, but by week 2 the weight eased. I wasn't carrying the world to bed anymore. Finally, posture. Sign 9 had me sleeping like a pretzel, crushing my back. Side sleeping, Evelyn, Dr. Ruiz ordered. Pillow between your knees, one under your head. I rearranged my bed, new pillows, firm but soft, and rolled onto my side. It felt wrong at first, like I was posing for a photo, but I woke up without that ache, without that choke. My spine thanked me, and my breath came easy. 3 weeks in, I felt it, a shift. I woke up at 7 a.m., the city stretching awake with me, and I wasn't tired. I wasn't foggy. I made coffee, real coffee, not decaf, and sipped it by the window, watching the sun glint off Lake Michigan. I had energy, real, honest-to-God energy. That weekend, I walked to Millennium Park, my legs steady, my heart light. I stood by the bean, watching my reflection curve in its silver surface, and laughed loud, free like I hadn't in years. I'm back, I said to no one, the wind carrying it away. The science backed it up. Dr. Ruiz showed me the numbers. Sleeping 7 to 9 hours cuts chronic disease risk by 20%, says the CDC. Apnea fixed. Stroke odds drop. Stress gone. Hearts happier. I wasn't just sleeping, I was adding years, good years, to my life. I pictured hitting 90, 95, maybe 100, surrounded by grandkids, telling them how I beat the odds in a city that never quits. So here's my challenge to you. If I can turn it around at 76, gray hair, creaky knees, and all, why can't you? Look at your sleep. Are you waking up? Choking? Stressed out? You've got the tools now. 9 fixes for 9 signs. Start small, turn off the TV, breathe deep, roll onto your side and watch what happens. I'm living proof it works. Chicago taught me life's a grind, but sleep? Sleep's how I keep grinding. I'm not just surviving to 100, I told my reflection that day in the park. I'm thriving to 100, and you can too.